All right, I've been having a lot of questions regarding is my power supply enough, or is this part enough for a 650 watt, or is this combination of CPU and GPU enough for this power supply and whatnot. So I'll be showing you how to calculate or give you at least an idea of if you need an upgrade from 650 to 750 or 850 or 1000 watts power supply or not. So, first off, as you can see here, I have the Seasonic website in. Uh, just to note here, since there is a 4000 series NVIDIA cards now that they have released ATX 3.0 power supply, so we won't be covering those, but we will be covering the ATX 2.0, the ones that you usually use for the normal power supply, the one that doesn't have the 12 VH power connector directly on the power supply. Okay, so on here, the Seasonic website, go to the support and wattage calculator. So if you're building a new PC, this is kind of a great way to give you a straight recommendation of what power supply to get in both brand and the actual wattage. But this is by no means an exact calculation. This is just to give you an idea of what to get if you don't know. For people that wants to upgrade to a different part, like if you want to upgrade from a better CPU or a better GPU, this is also a great way or easy way to get a ballpark estimation of if you need a new power supply or not. So here, you can just enter your desired CPU, or if you're building, or I mean upgrading to a better CPU, just enter it here. Let's say, for example, you're building, or rather you're upgrading from a Ryzen 5 3600 to a Ryzen 5 or Ryzen 7 rather 5800 X3D. So let's just input it right here. And you're currently using, let's say, a 2080, but you want to upgrade to, let's say, a 3080 12 gigs. So just enter it here. 3080 12 gigabytes, and enter the number of fans. The usual ones would always be around 2 intake, 1 exhaust, so 3. And sometimes we only have 1 SSD and no hard disk drive, but just to cover our bases, I'm gonna add 1 SSD. This will also be the same as if you have an NVMe SSD. So let's just say 1 SSD as your primary drive and 1 for storage. And if you're using, let's say, a Seagate Barracuda Compute, that's a 3.5-inch drive that is 7200 RPM. But if you have, let's say, a Western Digital Green or a Western Digital Blue, make sure that you do research what kind, because the older Western Digital Blues are 7200 RPM, and the modern ones, especially the high capacity ones, are 5400 RPM. So just choose the right one. So then hit calculate, and it will give you a ballpark estimation of what power supply you would need. So here the results. Most of the selections here are 1000 watts, only because I think they are also compensating for headroom, just in case you upgrade a component in the future. So yeah. So in here you can see the focus. Most of the time people would see Seasonic Focus GX or whatever, because these Vertex I haven't seen them ever. Of course, the Prime are the premium lineup of Seasonic. So if you want something that is what I would call future compatible instead of future proofing, because there's no such thing as future proofing, just future compatible, just get a titanium one or a platinum one and you'll be good, right? So if you want to see like all the 80 plus gold recommendations, here you have. And if you want the titanium ones, or if you want a gold that is fully modular, so this is most primarily for those that are building new systems, because as you can see they are pretty much overcompensated. And the next one would be PC Part Picker. So if you just go to pcpartpicker.com, you will see builder, click on it. So we will just have to choose all our components here. It will be the same as building your own new PC, or if you're upgrading to a new one. Let's say for example I have my configuration, which is a 3700X and an RTX 3080 12 gigs. And it's a Zotac Zotac Amp Hollow. It's a TI. Let's go chipset for. Okay, here we have 12 gigs. Zotac Trinity Amp Hollow. Is this one? Yeah, this is the one. Okay, this is just a ballpark, but if you want to, input everything, that would be great. Like, okay, let's just input everything. So I have a B450 Aorus Pro Wi-Fi. Is this the same? Yeah, it's the same one. I have Deepcool Castle 240 white. And memory, I have a PNY Accelerate 16 gigabyte kit. It's a it's an 8 gigabyte times 2. I guess this is it. I believe this is it. Is there any other? It's a 3200 CL16. I have 2 of those to make it 32 gigs. Yep. And storage, I have the 82000 1 terabyte and NV1 2 terabytes, and another one which is Barracuda Compute 2 terabytes. Then do we have anything else that we need to add? Yeah, fans. Fans. There's case fans here because they also part of the calculation. So I have TF120. Okay, I have 6 of these. So let me just place them on here. 5, 6. All right, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And I'm not sure if the case is needed, but I'll just place it on here as well. So LAN cool 2 mesh C performance. Right. Okay, so now we have placed all of our parts here. So on the upper right hand side, you can see the estimated wattage. If you click on that, you can see the breakdown. All right. So as you can see, the reason why I chose 650 watts, because the maximum wattage here is 598, which is pretty much a 600. We can narrow it down to 600. If we calculate that, so 650 times what, 90%. Okay, so it's not 90%, so 650 times 93. Oops. 650 times 0.93. Yeah, more or less 93%. $650.92. Yeah. So if you use a 650 watt power supply, you're pretty much using 92% of its wattage. So if you want peace of mind, you should be using the maximum of 80% of a power supply's maximum wattage, just in case of power trips, like power spikes. In case power on the area you're in spiked up, it'll be okay. It will not trip the over power protection. So yeah, technically you can run this configuration on the 650 watts, but for peace of mind, it will always be better on the 700 watts or 750 watts. So let's say you have a 700 watt power supply times 0.8, which is 80%. That's 560. So if your configuration is below 560, feel free to use 700 watts power supply. There's no issue whatsoever. So if you want this configuration, this exact configuration with the peace of mind power supply, I believe that will be 750.8. Yeah, 600. See, right on the dot. But if you want something that will be future compatible, 850 will be your best bet, because 0.8, that's 680. So you will be able to use up to a 3090 or a 4090 along the way. But yeah, as much as possible, get the highest wattage that you can get on the power supply with a minimum of 80 plus gold. So yeah, anyway, on here, as you can see, there's no recommendation of what kind of power supply you should get, or what brand, or what product line. And that is why you should look at the PSU cultist list. I'll be linking this down below on the description. But yeah, so your target should always be tier A as much as possible, because this is like the most reliable power supplies that you can get out here. So yeah, here, for example, one of my trusted, or rather, I'm gonna list my trusted brands here, would be Superflower, Seasonic, what else? Corsair, as usual, MSI, and lastly, Asus. I haven't heard of any Asus brand that's bursting up or whatever. I've heard of Seasonic and Corsair failing, but those are the lower end ones. So yeah, target as much as possible the tier A. If you can't, if your budget cannot, go to tier B. As much as possible, don't go here unless you're building a system that is, like a Core i3 or a APU that doesn't require a PCIe connector, or if you're using, let's say, a GT730 or a GT1030, something that doesn't require GPU external power, this will do, but you won't have any upgrade path if you use this one. So yeah, I guess that's it. Good luck in your computations, and if you have any other questions, just comment down below. So yeah, see you around.